My wife said coldly, "You're an adult. Cook for yourself. I'm not running a restaurant." When I came home starving from a 14-hour shift, I'm 32, married to Linda, 29, for 3 years. She has 2 kids, Ryan, 11, and Sophie, 8. I work as a field technician with long days and emergency calls that keep me out until 10 p.m. When we started dating, Linda worked full-time. We'd split costs, take turns cooking, actual partnership. After marriage, she scaled back to freelance work. She brings in about $800 a month, working 15 hours a week. I pay the mortgage, utilities, car payments, and groceries. Yesterday was brutal. Equipment failures at 3 cell towers. I spent 14 hours crawling through equipment rooms and climbing towers in 95-degree heat. My uniform was soaked, my knees scraped, and I hadn't eaten since lunch. When I walked into the kitchen, completely drained, Linda was cleaning up dinner dishes. I opened the fridge looking for leftovers, but there wasn't anything. "Are there any leftovers from dinner?" I asked. She didn't even look up. "You're an adult. Cook for yourself." I stood there not sure I heard right. When I asked what she meant, she turned around annoyed. "I made dinner for the kids at 6. You weren't here. I'm not running a restaurant where people can just show up whenever and expect food ready." I explained that I'd been working since 6 a.m. and couldn't control when emergency calls ended, but she shrugged. "That's your choice. The kids and I have our routine. You think I chose to work a 14-hour day? You chose that job. You chose the overtime. Don't expect me to rearrange my evening because you can't manage your schedule." I wanted to point out that my overtime pays for this house, Ryan's soccer equipment, Sophie's art supplies, the car Linda drives, but I was too tired to fight. I made a peanut butter sandwich and went to bed. The next week, I decided to test something. Instead of asking about dinner, I started taking care of myself exactly like she suggested. Monday, I bought food just for me. Steaks, fancy pasta, stuff I usually skip because it's too expensive. I made myself dinner without asking if anyone else wanted some. Linda was feeding the kids mac and cheese and seemed confused when I walked past with my plate. Tuesday, I made myself breakfast. Eggs, bacon, toast. Usually I'd make enough for everyone, but this time just for one. When Linda asked where hers was, I said, "You're an adult. Cook for yourself." She gave me this shocked look like she couldn't believe I just said that. By Friday, Linda was making spaghetti for 3 people. She saw me come in but didn't say anything about dinner, so I made myself a grilled cheese. When Ryan asked why I wasn't eating with them, Linda snapped, "What's wrong with you this week? You're acting like you don't live here anymore." "I'm just taking care of myself like you told me to." She got flustered, saying I was being ridiculous. When I asked her to explain what she meant, she couldn't give me a straight answer. I checked our joint bank account. In 3 months, Linda had spent $1,200 on clothes and entertainment for herself and the kids. When I mentioned needing new work boots, she said, "That's a work expense, right? Your company should pay for that." But when Sophie wanted an art easel, Linda didn't hesitate to use our account. 2 weeks later, I sat Linda down and explained how I felt like an outsider in my own home, that I didn't feel valued as a husband. She rolled her eyes and said I was being overly sensitive. "You act like I'm some gold digger. I work. I take care of the house. I manage everything with the kids." When I asked what I brought to our marriage besides money, she was quiet for a long moment, then said, "You're a good provider and you're decent with the kids. A good provider." That's it. I asked if she loved me or just loved what I provided. She got angry, saying I was manipulating her with gotcha questions. Finally, I asked directly, "If I lost my job tomorrow and couldn't find work for 6 months, would you still want to be married to me?" She hesitated just long enough to give me my answer. I filed for divorce the next Friday. She called, screaming, demanding to know what I thought I was doing. "I shouldn't have had to threaten divorce to get you to treat me like your husband." Once she realized I was serious, Linda started acting like the wife I'd been hoping for, making dinner, asking about my day, being affectionate, but it was too late. When she asked if this change made any difference, I told her it proved she was always capable of treating me like a husband. She just chose not to until there were consequences. Apparently, losing a husband who pays most of your bills is good motivation to become self-sufficient.